You are now listening to WSN, Wolf Sports Network, live from the University of West Georgia in Carrollton, now an Odyssey station.
Live from Carrollton, Georgia, this is Sports Pack.
Home of the hottest takes and the best interviews in college radio.
Hold on, wait a minute. We need a little more energy. This is Sports Pack. Yeah, there we go.
Home of the hottest takes and debates.
There is no way I'm going to sit here and roll with Jared Stidham and Aiden O'Connell.
Richard.
There's just no way.
And the best interviews in college radio.
This is five-time Olympic medalist Alana Myers-Taylor.
This is Super Bowl champion quarterback Brad Johnson, and you're listening to Sports Pack on the Wolf Sports Network.
You know what time it is. Wolves Country.
Let's ride.
What is up, everybody? And thank you for tuning in to another Monday episode of Sports Pack. As always, I'm your host, Richard Reed, joined by John Howley, Jackson Schrader. And once again, another Monday. Carly cannot be here with us tonight. She's a little under the weather. Get well soon. We know you got this. But in the meantime, we got my guy Brandon Dyer tuning in for the first part of the show. Got a bit of a rotating chair. You may or may not see Brandon again, so stay tuned to see what we do here. But we're going to have a rotating third chair since Carly can't be here tonight. You know we got a lot of sports to get into. Monster weekend in West Georgia with West Georgia Athletics. Once again, I feel like I say this every week, but every week has lived up to the hype. Every single college football weekend has been huge, and we have another big-time one to unpack. This NFL weekend was very surprising to a lot of people. Ended up giving us a whole lot of storylines to talk about. And to end the show, we will do Monday Night Football. But before we get started, I just got to remind you all, every Wednesday is Fried Chicken Wednesday at West Commons. Faculty and staff can now get their own meal plans by visiting westga.edu/dinewest. Updates are available at dine_west on Instagram. Now, y'all know we got to get started with West Georgia sports.
As Widener rolls to the right, he's got some time. Everybody's down at the end zone. He heaves it, and it is caught for a touchdown.
We are one. Go Wolves.
This past Saturday was a very exciting Saturday. A lot of big-time college football, but also here in the City of Dreams, Carrollton, Georgia, as we were hyping up what was set to be a big-time football matchup between our West Georgia Wolves against the Southern Utah Thunderhawks. It was a big-time game, and a lot of us West Georgia fans were really excited after the big-time win against Shorter on homecoming. We beat them 41-13. We saw what this offense could do. They really put it on display. Quincy Casey at quarterback had a monster game. So did Carmelo English and Dylan Gary at wide receiver. The defense also pulled through. So going back into conference play, which we're currently 0-5 in going into Saturday, we're like, this is it. This is this team's chance to get in the win column in conference play and win 4 straight games, end out this season at 500. But alas, we came up short, losing to Southern Utah with a final score of 28-17. Quincy Casey went down the game. Devin Widener came back in. And the game just didn't go our way at all, at any point. Brandon, appreciate you for tuning in, for joining us on Sports Pack today. I'm going to throw it to you first because you were at the game, just like the rest of us, but you were up top in the press box writing an article, which will be posted very, very soon on wolfsportsnetwork.com. Be sure to check it out when it's posted. But Brandon, walk us through this game and where did it go wrong for the West Georgia Wolves?
So I think if you listen to the tailgate show that we were all on Saturday before the game, then you know that we talked a whole lot about Southern Utah's running game.
Right. And
that running back, Targi Lamson.
Yes, sir.
He did go off a little bit on us. It was 30 yards, 30 carries, 135 yards, 2 touchdowns. But I want to highlight the passing game a little bit for Southern Utah, which quarterback Jackson Berry, 16 for 20, 257 yards. So this was a game plan that the Wolves didn't even have game plan for, to be quite honest with you. And I think that this wasn't a bad game for West Georgia. Like, I know we lost. It was 28-17. But we just could not get any right plays at the right time. You mentioned Quincy Casey going down in the second half, Dylan Widener having to come back in. We were able to sustain drives. We had 335 yards in the game offensively. But the biggest thing was just not being able to capitalize. We missed a field goal. We had the touchback by Davin Widener. Went through the back of the end zone. There was a heartbreaker for all of us here when we seen it happen. But we were scoreless in the second half until the 7:45 mark in the fourth quarter. So you mix all that together, it's not a recipe that's going to end in a good result, but I'm at least a little bit happy with it because there's some positives to take away from it.
You know, I feel like we said this every game, though. I feel like every single West Georgia game has been the same, except for the 2 games that we won, Samford and Shorter, the 2 S's that we played, even though Southern Utah just came in and whooped us. It's like we keep saying, yes, we lost this game, but if this, and this go right, man.
I'm starting to get sick of it.
I've been sick of it, and I've been trying to be optimistic, but it's ridiculous at that point. This is ridiculous. Week in and week out, it's always, man, if we would have converted this 4th down right here, didn't throw that interception here, didn't have this touchback right here, missed those 2 field goals right there, this would be a whole different ball game.
Yep.
But it keeps happening. So it's to the point where, are we seeing signs of good things from this West Georgia team, or is the team just bad and this is just a consistently, I think it's time to accept the fact this is just a consistently bad team, and we're going to continue to see things that could have gone right here, but could have gone right there, but they are going to continue to go wrong because this team is not good. Straight up. I don't really know how else to slice it. Schrader, do you have anything?
I mean, I say this time and time again every week. I say the same thing. If we can run the ball efficiently, it'll open up the pass game. It'll open up the offense. But we can't run the ball efficiently. I say it every week, but we didn't even get 100 yards. Again, 93 total rushing yards is just brutal. Like, we need a rushing game to open up this passing attack so the passing attack isn't all we have. It's just, it's killing me, dude.
I mean, I was – look, Quincy wasn't playing bad. The first half really didn't look too bad. I mean, it was, 14-10 at halftime?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then he gets injured, and Davin comes in. And with all due respect, I mean, Davin, you rolled out 3 plays. You threw just 3 balls nowhere. You could have at least thrown it to number 13 and got it checked down and stuff. But we didn't do anything. And defensively, I mean, these guys played pretty well. But this game, other than, us taking photos down there and – having fun with that, this game was sad.
Man, I just took a quick peek at the live chat on YouTube.
Yeah.
And shout out my guy Nolan Johnson. We cannot wait to have you on for another call-in.
Make him
He just had to take a year. He just had to take a year.
Baby.
The run game's been struggling. The offense has been crazy inconsistent. He said make him run wing T and spice it up.
Listen, they drop a pass, they run a mile. You make a mistake, they run a mile.
Make him run wing T.
At least make it interesting. If we ain't going to win, make it interesting.
At least make it interesting. If we're going to lose the game, let's just spice it up. Run wing T the whole game. We also had 2 other games this past weekend. We had our women's volleyball team come up short on Friday and Saturday, sadly, losing to the University of North Alabama 3-0, and also away at the University of Central Arkansas on Sunday, October 7th, 3-0 as well. This volleyball season has been spiraling out of control. Started off with a lot of ups and downs, but it's been a lot more down than up as of lately. We are currently sitting at 9-13 with not too many games to play. More games have been played than there are left on the schedule. This team can still get it together, but it's not looking too good right now. And then we look at our women's soccer team. Just finished out the season, but didn't finish it on an L.
Let's go.
Tied with Queens University 1-1 in our last game. You know what?
We'll take it.
I was going to say a win is a win, but it's not a win. But you know what, man? It's not a loss. And since it's not a loss, we will take it. Now, let's talk some college football. Baby, it's college football time. Give me my theme music. Another massive weekend, and what I would say is probably the best college football season we've had since that glorious 07 season. It has been incredible so far. I don't really want to hype it up too early, but every single weekend has lived up to the hype. There have been big games scattered throughout every weekend, whether it was Friday night's game with Boise State taking down UNLV or A&M LSU. There were great games all around. But I want to start off with the Ohio State Buckeyes, barely squeaking by the same Nebraska Cornhuskers that were just beaten 56-7 by the undefeated Indiana Hoosiers. Ohio State barely got by them with a final score of 21-17. It's raising a lot of eyebrows around the country. Schrader, how do you feel about this game?
I just want to first and foremost give my condolences to any Nebraska fans just out there having to watch the same product year after year, just being so close, yet so far away from beating Ohio State. But this game, like, survival is a great way to put it because Ohio State could not run the ball. Their leading rusher, Quinton Judkins, had 29 rushing yards.
Oh
Nebraska's defense is insane. I mean, first of all, you contain this dominant offense to 21 points. Like, props to that defense. It was just Raiola really couldn't get it going. I mean, it's so tough to see this for Nebraska. I can't say that enough.
Look, I wasn't able to catch the game, but I'm looking at the stats here. Nebraska dominated. I mean, they had time of possession, first down, third down efficiency, almost total yards. I mean, they shot themselves in the foot. That's what I'm seeing here. They shot themselves in the foot and got unlucky. And I mean, I'm shocked. I mean, even with the score and everything, I need to go back and watch the highlights on this. But still, I can't believe that with the way Nebraska played, with all the dominating them and all the stats. That's just crazy. I can't believe it.
This is one of the rare occasions where the stats do indeed tell the full story, because Nebraska won this game in every facet. They limited that run game, which we thought would be one of the best in the country going into this season, with guys like Quinshawn Judkins and Trevion Henderson in the backfield. They have not been able to run the ball this year. So when you look at this performance, Nebraska has a very solid defense, yes, but I wouldn't even say they have the best defense in the Big Ten. I would consider Ohio State, look at Indiana, but also look at the Penn State Nittany Lions, the team that the Ohio State Buckeyes have to take on next week. Number 3 team in the country, went and disposed of Wisconsin this past Saturday. So when looking at that game, as an Ohio State fan, how would you feel going into it? Brandon, I want to throw this one to you here. Ohio State, Penn State, huge game. This could easily help determine who's going to play in the Big Ten championship. I'd argue this has big-time implications, like how this LSU and A&M game had this also had this past Saturday. So looking at this game, based off what we've seen this past weekend, who would you pick so far?
I think that for sure it sets up the same situation that we have with Texas A&M LSU. I think one of these two teams is going to wind up making it into the Big Ten championship, because I don't see a team after this that either team will be able to lose to. We've had a whole lot of upsets this year, like you said. I'm going to show my age here a little bit, but that 2007 season, I might be the only one in Wolf Sports Network that could actually remember that season
I was
there.
4. I had a memory.
I was turning 3. I was born in 2004.
You guys know the lore of it, but let me tell you, it's something else to actually live through it. But this season, I think, is the most like that, because you see these teams like this Nebraska and Ohio State game, where teams, once they realize, hey, we might not get a championship, so we might as well go out. We might as well just focus on trying to upset some of these top teams and count that as a victory on our season.
You say it's looking like a resume thing is what they're trying to build up here, because I mean, you may, depending on how this week goes for Penn State and Ohio State, I mean, this is like Richard, you're saying, it really comes down to the conference championship, and you may not play your conference championship. And right now, Ohio State is sitting to a loss to Oregon, which it was 2-3 at the time. So obviously, with a loss on your resume right there with such a big team, that doesn't look good for your resume for the college football playoffs. And you need to have something at least decent for your resume to make sure you're in the top, in that top 12 spot no matter what. So resume is a huge thing right now. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, to go back to that original question of who would you pick? I'm not going to give my pick now because I'm here on Thursday.
I'm saying that
it
for
really
Thursday.
just makes you think more.
Really, what you need to think about right now is Drew Aller is listed as questionable. So it's not even.
He was injured.
He's not even got a green light to play, and that will change this game dramatically. So watch the storylines, because this might be one of, if not the biggest game of this season when it comes to playoff implication.
That game's definitely going to be big time, but right before you said that, you said watch the storyline. I got to talk about who might be the best story in college football right now. The Colorado Buffaloes.
Dude,
currently sitting at 6-2. The talk going into the season was, will they win 4 games? They won 4 games last year. People kept arguing, well, with the way their season ended, how they kind of fell off, their offensive line's been shaky, the defense hasn't been that great. Outside of Travis Hunter, Shador, and the rest of those skill position players, they can't run the ball. What will they do? Will they make a bowl game? Well, yes, they are officially bowl eligible. And when you look at the rest of their season, with games against Texas Tech, home game against Utah, who's been struggling recently, Kansas, and ending their season off against Oklahoma State, you could argue this Colorado team might win out and end up being a 10-2, at least a 9-3 team this season. So when you look at this Colorado team, what do y'all make of it? Is Colorado legit, and are they still in the hunt to represent the Big 12 in the playoffs this year?
Oh, 100%. 100%. I mean, the sky's the limit for this team right now. The only thing that's hurting them is that one conference loss, because you have BYU, who all of a sudden they're legit. I think they're past the point of, are they good? Are they not? This
BYU's good.
BYU at quarterback.
Yeah,
man,
BYU.
he is balling right now.
No, dude, even Barstool Sports has endorsed it and everything.
Yeah,
BYU.
it's amazing.
I know you have a Jewish quarterback playing for the Mormon school. It's beautiful.
It's
BYU.
crazy.
Yeah.
But the only reason that I would hesitate a little bit is just Iowa State, BYU, and Kansas State above them. But to be honest, two of those three teams could easily drop a conference game. Colorado could easily win out. I could see Colorado winning the Big 12 100%.
Man, that would be incredible.
That would
Could
be
you
insane.
imagine that turnaround?
That would be
And
some primetime television.
Primetime television, and I'm glad you said that because I was watching television this morning, and the primetime man himself, Stephen A. Smith, got on there and said, look, you see how Deion Sanders is done with Colorado. You saw success at Jackson State. If Colorado is to win out, and let's say they win the Big 12 championship and make it to the playoffs, how does this make all these other teams look? You're looking at his alma mater, Florida State, who is currently sitting at 1-7.
Yeah.
You're a Florida State fan, Schrader. If Colorado makes the playoff, they make a run. Who knows? They might get put out in the first round. Either way, they made it. He took a 1-win team and took them to the college football playoff in year 2 there with all sorts of star players. Both of his sons are leaving. So is Travis Hunter. A lot of people think that might mean Deion might be looking to hit the door if bigger job offers come around. Would you be upset to see Florida State let go of Mike Norvell and bring in one prime-time Deion Sanders as their new head coach?
I mean,
bring a culture for sure.
This season, I'm still like on the fence with Norvell, right? Because the last 2 years, I mean, it's been steady progress until this. Dude, he just jumped off a cliff. I don't know what else to say.
He drove the bus off the cliff. That's what he did.
I don't know if I'm ready to give up on Norvell. I would love for Deion to be the head coach because of that culture, because of that moxie that he brings. But at the same time, I think the timing's a little off. If this was next year, I'd be like, yeah. Like, Norvell's going to have to win 9 or 10 games next year to keep his job. And maybe Deion stays in Colorado another year and it doesn't go quite as great as it did this year, and maybe they want to part ways, and maybe Florida State parts ways with Norvell. Then I would not be mad. But I want to give Norvell at least 1 more year before we just
Well, y'all even just lost a big-time recruit in C.J. Wiley.
I just had to. I had to stir the pot a little bit.
I've been asked that question like 5 times today.
Which is fine. I'm glad I was able to make it 6. And then when you look at the rest of the college football landscape, before we move on to our next point in college football, you see the Florida Gators. A lot of their fans really want them to move on from their head coach, Billy Napier. You could look at that. We don't even know if Deion Sanders is going to move forward. He says he's going to be at Colorado until his contract is up. I'd be surprised if he left before next season because I think he's going to have a great season next year as well once they get recruiting mixed in with the transfer portal. But you look at teams like Florida who might move on from their head coach. You look at Ohio State. I know that might sound insane, but Ohio State fans are extremely upset year in and year out being 1 game short. I mean, I'm not saying I agree with it because they were a missed field goal away from playing TCU in the national championship and probably winning the national championship. But if they find a way to lose to Penn State.
I just don't know if Ohio State's that kind of school to go after a Deion.
That's not an insane take at all.
I mean, I don't understand what it means to be that kind of school because it's a winning head coach in college football.
I guess that's true. It's just more like, you know, that culture that Deion brings to the team, just the flash and stuff. Ohio State seems like a very conservative.
But they love that.
I don't see what's wrong with bringing that in because all that is bringing more money into your athletic department.
Well,
Tickets are
I'm not
always
saying
going to be
it's wrong.
selling.
I'm just saying I
Merchandise
don't know.
flying off the shelves.
Yeah, I was just saying I don't know how much, like, I don't know. They just seem like one of those, like, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't.
I'm not sure, but I do know one thing. Whatever big time school ends up moving on from their head coach this season, they will be looking at Deion Sanders to fill those shoes. If not this year, then most definitely next season. Now, before we run out of time in this college football segment, we have got to talk about LSU versus Texas A&M. Big time game. We hyped it up on Thursday's show and also in our live tailgate show that we do at every West Georgia home game. Make sure you tune into those. They're from 11:30 to 1:30 when we have 2 o'clock games. This game was big time. Box office. The winner of this game would be the number 1 team in the SEC going into Week 10. And right now, the Texas A&M Aggies are. They're currently sitting at 5-0 in conference play, a 7-1 team after a dominant second half led to a 38-23 win against the Bayou Bengals from Louisiana. John, we were talking about this game earlier.
Yes, sir.
What was your biggest takeaway, and what do you think of this A&M team's odds to win the SEC?
My biggest takeaway is LSU did not have an answer for Marcel Reed. I mean, he got in there. I was like, oh crap! Well, they benched Connor Wegman. Whatever. I was like, I wasn't surprised, but the way Marcel Reed started playing and the read option and his arm and the way the team adjusted for A&M in that second half, because in the first half they didn't play well at all. I mean, it was LSU's ball game. I thought Nussbus was going to do his thing, but no, Nussbus did not show up. And really, back to what I'm saying, with Well, I'm saying, like, he didn't play as great as he would because then LSU
Right.
defense did not have an answer for Marcel Reed. He had the option. They could not – DNs were not reading him properly.
Yeah.
And it just – the game went off for A&M, and I was very surprised. And they're going to shout out their unis one more time again. Super clean, super tough.
Oh, that all black was beautiful.
Oh, my gosh.
That
Yeah.
all black was beautiful.
Silly Brian Kelly. I think he forgot to play in the second half. I think he forgot to say,
Yeah,
oh,
for
by the
sure.
way, we have to go out there and finish the game. Because they played great in the first half, but daggum, they forgot to show up in that second half.
Yeah, LSU cannot run the ball.
No.
LSU had 33 yards rushing the entire
Yeah.
game.
Sounds like West Georgia.
You made it to where Garrett Nussmeier pretty much had to play a perfect game in order to win it. Now, like, I'm a Nussmeier fan. I love the guy. I love
like
the
the
story.
Nuss
He
bus.
waited a long time, so of course I'm going to defend him some. But at the end of the day, Mike Elko, Texas A&M, their defense rose to the occasion in that second half. Excuse me, they made a big-time quarterback switch, putting in Reed over Wegman, and he ended up getting it done. They are currently sitting as the #1 team in the SEC, followed by the #2 ranked team in the country, the Georgia Bulldogs, and the Texas Longhorns at the 3 spot. You also have Tennessee at 4, and LSU has dropped down to 5. So when we're looking at this slate right now, all roads lead to rivalry weekend. Every single weekend has been big time. A&M's only, a 3-point favorite against South Carolina this weekend, so they can slip up at any point. But if A&M keeps going at this rate, find a way to be perfect the rest of the season, rivalry weekend, which is, of course, the last Saturday of football, they will play the Texas Longhorns in the Battle of the Lone Star State. That game is going to be incredible. And if both of these teams can just keep on winning, and I really hope they do, that team is going to determine who plays maybe Georgia or Tennessee, and maybe even Ole Miss if they win out in the SEC championship. That game's going to be big time, and I cannot wait for it. I think I should trademark Battle of the Lone Star State. That was...
Dude,
I can look it up for you.
Great one.
I can
if
look
it
it up
ain't got
for
a
you.
name yet, that's the name.
You heard it here first, folks. The rivalry weekend, Texas A&M versus the Texas Longhorns is the Battle of the Lone Star State. Oh, that sounds sexy. It made my toes curl. I like that right there. Now, stay tuned, because this show is far from over. When we come back, we're going to be talking sports news, talking about the World Series. We're going to get into some of these big-time NFL controversies from this weekend, and we're also going to make our Monday Night Football picks. Stay tuned. This is Sports Pack on Wolf Sports Network.
Hey, this is Andy Bunker from 92.9 The Game, and you're listening to the Wolf Sports Network.
What's up, everybody? Quick reminder for those of you that may be watching on YouTube or Twitch here at Wolf Sports Network. We are indeed a radio station first, and right now we're taking a quick song break. So you can either stay tuned over here or hop over to wolfsportsnetwork.com, listen to the great music that we're playing over there. And when we come back, either stay tuned over there or hop back over to the YouTube stream, however you want to do it. But real quick, I was reading the live chat, as I always do throughout the show, and I see... Actually, my dad left this comment. I'd like to see Deion Sanders become the next coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
Hey,
I see the vision. I understand it. The Cowboys have been struggling as of lately. But I will say this. Deion Sanders went on record saying that he did not want to coach the pro game because they feel like they've already made it. He said there's a lot more drive with college players. They're grinding to get to that pro game.
Yeah.
He said a lot of pro players, that's why they're superstars, because a lot of them really want to get better. But other than our NFL rosters, just kind of sit back, comfortable, collecting a check, want to get their 5 years, make retirement, and just kind of fade out. They're not really tripping about getting better and better. Deion Sanders says he loves the kids. He loves their energy. He loves the fact that they're grinding to be the best. So he doesn't want to move to the pro game because of the attitude change. I just had to address that.
I just wanted to say, I looked up the Lone Star Battle on a trademark search, and there is no current contract for that. So,
That's not a
sir.
contract.
Oh, I'm going to trademark that thing.
Yeah, you go out there and trademark it.
The
So-
Richard Reed Lone Star State Showdown.
You owe me a Dr. Pepper. I don't know
I put
why,
battle.
but
Let me
I
search
need a
up
Dr.
Showdown.
Pepper from the money that's going to come from that name.
Oh, I can get you a whole case of Dr. Pepper.
Let's go.
That's going to come from that.
Yeah,
That's
there's
gonna be
nothing
big
for
time.
it. There's nothing for it, man.
But I do want to ask y'all, and Steven, shout out to Steven. I'm going to announce him when we come back on air.
Yes, sir.
But Steven, whether it be this year or next year, if Deion Sanders was to move on from Colorado to a different program, whether it be college or pro, who do you think it would be?
Now, I think that as far – listen, there is a team
I just want to win. I
right
don't care
now
who's coaching.
right now that desperately needs another head
So you're
coach
thinking-
that's probably going
I just wanna
to be in the
win.
market for somebody that probably does need a change of scenery and a change of direction when it comes to coaching.
Temperature,
so,
perhaps?
Deion Sanders going down there to Florida State, that's not a bad move.
You think his alma mater's calling?
Hey, look, all I'm saying is that,
Just want to win. That's all I
putting
need.
Deion Sanders in there changes that program, in my opinion.
Right.
Like, I feel like the recruiting changes, like the
Bring
style,
Bobby Bowden back from the
style
grave.
of football changes. Like, I feel like that's a good move.
And it's all about timing because I don't think he's going to move on this year. I feel like next year would be it. So like you said, Schrader, you just said this earlier, it's all about timing. If he does for some reason move on this
Perfect
year,
timing.
it might – bust down my EP, perfect timing. If he does move on this year, it might be the actual University of Florida. But if it is next year,
That
they
would
might be
make me
moving
wanna
on
throw
from
up.
Mike Norvell next season as well. It might line up, and like you said, it might just be perfect timing.
Yes,
Now
sir.
stay tuned because we'll be back from song break in 20 seconds. And when we're back, we're going to talk the World Series and get into this big-time NFL weekend.
Aaron Judge sucks.
Their team sucks and they're mad as heck. Falcons On's looking like a mess. They'll never win if Kirk is in. Goodness gracious, they're fired up.
Wait, Jackson, why are you dissing the Falcons? Aren't you an Eagles fan?
Because I can. Anyways, tune in to Sports Out of Pocket every Wednesday at 5 for Fire Me Ups you don't want to miss. Only on Wolf Sports Network.
On November 5th from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m., our sibling station, Wolf Radio's news team, will bring you 3 hours of election coverage at thewolfuwg.com. Tune in to hear interviews with political scientists, updated poll numbers, and how traditional media and digital media have portrayed this election. On November 5th from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m., only at thewolfuwg.com. I repeat, that is November 5th from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. at thewolfuwg.com. Are you ready for some football?
Oh, I'm ready for some football.
It's about time. First of all, prayers to them covering the election for 3 hours.
Doggy.
I wouldn't wish that on my worst
Oh,
enemy.
brother.
Look, neither would I. I love them over there, but look, good luck. Now, John, play that NFL stager.
The Dodgers introducing Shohei Ohtani after signing a record-breaking contract.
Nick Saban is retiring.
Breaking news on Sports
Hey,
The
dude,
NFL is a
dude,
sport.
You know
Hey,
what?
look.
That's the second time I've done that on a show before.
Yeah, you know
Done
what?
that to me.
That's my bad. When I said, are you ready for the
Am I
football?
bringing in something that I'm not aware of?
See,
Like,
okay, see, look. When I said, are you ready for some football, I was thinking we're about to do NFL, and I was like, well, why didn't he click the stager? Now I got to figure out another way to bring it in. But I forgot, we're not talking NFL yet. We're talking sports news. And welcome in my good friend, Steven Lambert, the host of Sports Out of Pocket. They are live every Wednesday from 5 to 6 right here
Yes,
on
sir.
Wolf Sports Network. You're also an MLB expert as well. On a podcast with a lot of guys from Sports Out of Pocket called Dinger Dudes. You can find that at Dinger Dudes on YouTube and Instagram. We had to bring you in for this one, Steven.
Man.
Because we are talking the World Series, probably one of the most box office World Series
Yeah.
we have seen with some of the biggest brands in the sport, the New York Yankees and the LA Dodgers. The Dodgers are currently up 2-0. It would have been two fantastic comebacks in those games. Steven, just a couple questions here. One, what has been your biggest takeaway from those first two games, and how do you think the rest of this World Series is going to play out?
Okay, so one thing that I can take away from this series is the fact that this Dodgers lineup is they're the real deal, unfortunately. Look, this is one of those World Series to where, and I've said it to anybody that'll listen, it's a World Series that I just can't stand watching because these are two franchises that have spent millions, billions of dollars to bring the players that they have on their lineup, and it's worked out for them. I mean, there's a reason that these two teams are in the World Series because they're two of the best lineups in the sport. Now, here's the thing about that. There's one guy that's been incredible throughout the entire season and probably AL MVP. But he has been horrible in this World Series.
Yes,
Aaron
he
Judge has not done a thing for the New York Yankees.
Horrible?
And it is just like he looks lost. There have been at-bats to where I'm looking at him, and it's just like he's swinging early. He's late on the fastball. He's swinging way early on the off-speed pitches. He just looks lost at the plate
Pay
right
me all
now.
that money to do that.
I'm saying, dude.
And also just the fact that the pitching for the Dodgers has just been lights out. I mean, Yamamoto had an incredible performance in Game 2. Jack Flaherty did what he needed to do in Game 1. The pitching's been there for the Dodgers. And also, look, man, the best part of this series is seeing my favorite player in Freddie Freeman hit that walk-off grand slam.
It was incredible.
Oh, my gosh.
It was incredible.
That makes October baseball.
It does.
That was a
it
beautiful
does.
sight to see.
There was not, in my opinion, there's not a better player just that I can root for better than Freddie Freeman. Just having him have that moment, like, it almost brought a tear to my eye.
Especially with the season, like with the personal stuff that has happened this season. Like, that's just
gives me goosebumps.
Storybook stuff.
Make your feet itch. That's how we tell everybody. You know what I'm saying? Give me goosebumps, make my feet itch, man. It's been incredible to watch. It's been extremely entertaining. Now, Schrader, I know there was also some college basketball you wanted to talk about today.
Dude, so I was just, scrolling on the gram today, looking around, and I saw that in an exhibition game, Duke, a Power 4, Power 6, whatever it is in basketball, team beat Arizona State, another Power insert number team there, 104 to 47. Is that legal?
An exhibition game?
It's an exhibition game.
I think it's illegal in like 36 states.
That's what I'm thinking,
Dude,
bro.
that is ridiculous.
Clearly
that
it's
is
not in one of
wild.
them.
Like that, I know Duke's good. Duke is the poster child for collegiate basketball. But to beat another power team by that margin just is insane. That just needed to be brought up at least.
And seeing that final score really makes my gears turn because I was expecting a lot from Duke basketball this season anyway with Cooper Flagg, who we all agree will most likely be the #1 overall pick in this draft class, dunking on guys in Team USA exhibitions. That guy is legit. He is a freak. He's from Maine, too. Like, you don't get too many people from Maine, period. So the fact that he might be the #1 overall pick in the NBA draft is crazy. But looking at that final score, they weren't playing against Air. They weren't playing against a middle school or high school JV team. They were playing against Arizona State University, the Sun Devils. I don't care if it was an exhibition. They beat them 104 to 47. The basketball world better take notice because the Duke Blue Devils might just be back. They were a solid team last year, missing a few pieces. They retained a lot of guys from last season and add a superstar who might be the best player in college basketball his first year here. In Cooper Flagg. I'm very excited to watch Duke basketball this year. I'm ready for college basketball in general. West Georgia plays at Georgia Tech next Wednesday. I'm going to go ahead and put Georgia Tech on upset alert. If you don't know, now you know West Georgia is a basketball and cheerleading school. Yeah. So I'm putting Georgia Tech on upset alert. But the Duke Blue Devils, the rest of you teams around the country better take notice. I think they're back, and I think they're going to be legit this year.
This might be the first time, and I'm sorry, I don't want to transition.
Oh, Duke you're good.
Duke is a serious squad this year. Everybody needs to take notice of them. But there's a squad that, listen, I don't think they're going to make the tournament, but they made some improvements last year. Like, as a UGA fan myself, I'm kind of excited to watch some UGA basketball this year.
I never shy away from some UGA sports talk, especially basketball. The team was definitely improved last year. Solid recruiting classes coming in, new head coaching staff coming in, rebuilding Stegman. Look, this is a team that wants to be better, and I'm not saying this year's going to be the year, but over these next few years, UGA basketball will be better. But we got to get into some NFL, man.
Yes, sir.
In the NFL, only one thing matters. Chasing a dynasty. Now look, on the hot clock, I have a few games selected, a few storylines to talk about, but I did see a message in the live chat about Baltimore Ravens players forgetting how to catch against the Cleveland Browns, and I've got to address it. We have to talk about the elephant in the room. The Baltimore Ravens, who I believe is one of the best teams in the NFL, took a loss this weekend. Excuse me.
All right, famous Jameis, calm down now. Calm down now,
to
famous
the now
Jameis.
Jameis Winston-led Cleveland Browns. In his first game, Jameis Winston threw for over 300 yards and scored over 20 points, two things Deshaun Watson has not done this season and in his career as the Cleveland Browns quarterback. I wish him a speedy recovery, but Jameis went in there and got the job done. Who wants to start it off here?
Look,
it just clicked to me.
I'm sorry. I just thought it was. Listen, Jameis Winston. You saw the pregame interviews. You saw the pregame stuff. You saw all of those things that we saw with Jameis Winston coming into that game, and you just. was like, oh no, he's got God on his side today. It's about to be, he's about to go off, and he did. He played an incredible game. I didn't think they were going to beat the Ravens. Like, I don't think anybody did. I think everybody had, the Ravens obviously winning that game. But, man, Jameis Winston just played out of his mind. And, like, honestly, I don't know if he's going to play like that all season, but just that game.
He delivered.
It was good. It was great.
This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice, baby. Oh, my goodness. Famous Jameis is back. They're going 11-6, winning the Super Bowl. Don't at me later. But let me tell you something. This was so great because of what I've had to watch with Florida State on the field this season. It's been terrible. And the Twins and I have said, man, it'd be great if Jameis could just start. If we could just get some Jameis back.
For the past year.
And, boy, did we get Jameis back. We got Heisman-level Jameis back. Disregard the dropped pick at the end. That didn't happen. Because it wasn't real. Didn't happen.
Right.
Jameis is back. It's so great to see, man.
Angel popped that out, man. God was on his side.
Exactly,
dude. It was a great game. The Ravens had chances to win that game, but they didn't. There were drops across the board. Rashad Bateman had a big-time drop. The drive before that last touchdown, there was a dropped interception by Kyle Hamilton right before, a few drop picks throughout the game. The Ravens had chances to win it, but they didn't. Any given Sunday, I'm still not selling my stock in this Ravens team. They are still a very, very, very good football team, and they will be playing deep into the playoffs. But there's a team I'm selling all my stock in. And me selling my stock right here, I'm not buying low and selling high. I bought, it was like moderate high, and I'm selling at its very lowest. I can no longer defend the New York Jets as they just lost to one of the worst teams in football, the New England Patriots. Final score of 25-22 this past weekend.
Yep.
I have nothing else to say here. They outrushed, outpassed, they played clean, they didn't turn the ball over, and still somehow found a way to lose to the New England Patriots. I don't really know what else to say about this team. I picked them to play in my Super Bowl. I picked Aaron Rodgers to win Comeback Player of the Year. They added Devontae Adams.
Hype.
I saw hope. And you know what? I'll say it is very rare, but I was wrong. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I was wrong.
I've been waiting a while to hear that.
Yeah, you know what? You've called me out a lot. I was wrong on the New York Jets, and I'm taking a step back. I will take ownership. I take full responsibility for my bad take.
That's a man right
because I don't get many bad takes often. So, humbly, I will step down and say I was wrong about the New York Jets. Their season is over. It is time to tank for Cam Ward.
Oh, wow. Tank for the Cam Ward.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's time.
All right,
It's
so
time.
here's the real thing. The first thing I saw, this is a meme. It was Robert Saleh and Zach Wilson's like, do you miss me yet? Really not about Zach Wilson. He's gone, whatever. But I want to go back to the time of when they fired Robert Saleh. And, like, do you guys really – I mean, I think we're all on the kind of the same page, but now, time's passed. Was it really the right direction for them to fire him? Because we're seeing what happened there.
I don't think I ever understood the move. It was just dumb.
They just wanted to blame someone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
No, they tried to. Okay, my whole thing is the Jets have just like they've tried to fix issues that that you just have to blame one person at the end of the day. Okay, look. Aaron Rodgers has not played a good season this year. Aaron Rodgers is still, top 5 quarterback of all time.
Right.
I still believe that. Mm-hmm. But there have been games this year to where, passes that he's made, decisions that he's made has cost their team's game. Like you said. But this week, here's the thing. It was receiving depth, right? Devontae Adams, they added him. Now that doesn't work out. Now they tried to put all of the production into Breece Hall. That doesn't work out. They're losing games even though they're trying their best. I just think at the end of the day, their team is terrible.
Yep. They even had Hassan Reddick return, their star pass rusher, and still couldn't limit. Drake May went down early in this game. The Jacoby Brissett-led New England Patriots. I can't believe it. It's a bad game. And shout out Nolan Johnson again. We got to get him to call back in because he's been killing me in the live chat today. He said, no need to tank. They'll do it on their own at this point. Nolan, I love you, but not right now.
Interesting
Trader,
take
you
there,
had something
Gavin.
to say?
With
Yeah, I was just
going
going to say something that you should note. I heard it on 92.9 The Game, and I think I'll get the stat right. Don't overlook Drake May. Because I believe it was in his first 3 starts.
He's going to be great.
I know, but nobody was talking about in his first 3 starts, he was the only quarterback in NFL history to have, I think it was 240 yards and 3 touchdowns in each of his first 3 starts.
Dang.
So keep an eye out because he's quietly cooking over there. They might not be winning.
Yep.
But he's kind of quietly cooking.
Yeah, I hated to see him go down in that game the way he did, but you were 100% right, Schrader, and we hadn't yet talked about it. He was looking very, very good, and hopefully he'll be back healthy to play again next week because he is without a doubt the best quarterback on their roster, but he's been playing good ball. And that is a perfect segue into our next topic here. A quarterback who started yesterday's game for the Indianapolis Colts, but I would argue is not the best quarterback on his team, Anthony Richardson. Checked himself out of the game and on 3rd and goal in what ended up being a 3-point loss to their division rival, Houston Texans. Not because he was injured, not because he had to poop like Paul Pierce did when they wheeled him out of an NBA game. He came back. Did the same thing with Lamar Jackson a couple seasons ago, by the way. But no, because he was tired. He said he was tired on 3rd and goal and felt like he wouldn't be able to help his team out enough. So he checked himself out, not for the rest of the drive, not for the rest of the game, but for one play so he could catch his breath. I am utterly disappointed. If you were in Anthony Richards' position here, a quarterback who your team spent the 4th overall pick on, they're giving you the keys to the franchise. You're telling me in one of the biggest points of the game, biggest points of the season so far, you don't believe, okay, yes, you're tired. You don't think any other NFL player has ever been tired? Now, I know I don't play in the NFL, yes, but this isn't my job. It is his job to go out there and produce at a high level, and when your team needs you the most as a franchise quarterback, you need to stay on that field and deliver. And especially when there's a guy like Joe Flacco, who on the bench, who people like me would argue is currently better than you,
Yes.
You cannot do this to yourself because right now his job is being looked at and he might not start next week.
Yeah, I mean, I have said this, honestly, since he was in college. Now, I am a Florida State fan. There's a little bit of bias. I don't like much of anything that comes from the University of Florida. But I have watched Anthony Richardson play a lot of football because I hate watch Florida. It's what I do.
Right.
And throughout his entire collegiate career, there's no doubt that the talent is there. He can throw the ball a mile. The accuracy was a little off in college, but his decision-making, it wasn't great. And I've always kind of said, I don't know how great he'll be in the NFL. And this just, now he's showing that mindset of just saying, I'm tired. He tapped his helmet.
Man, I can't believe that.
He tapped out of an NFL game.
Yep.
Do you understand how many people are waiting in line to take that job from you and you're tired? That's just, it's so, I can't, no words, just no words.
You got a guy twice your age that's on the bench. That's
Flacco's
your backup
balling,
QB,
bro.
And Flacco, do you think Flacco will ever sit there and tap on his helmet and check out of a game?
I don't think
Flacco's
Flacco's ever
gasping for
retired.
breath. Unless this man has a broken bone, Joe Flacco's never checking out of a game.
Exactly.
I just think Flacco, in my opinion, I agree with you wholeheartedly that the Colts are a better team with Flacco at quarterback.
I wouldn't start Richardson.
If Joe Flacco starts next week, Anthony Richardson will not start the rest of the season. You can quote me on that.
You taking it?
Now look, oh yeah, I'm taking it all the way. Now we're going to take a quick song break, but stay tuned because when we get back, we'll be making our Monday Night Football picks. You do not want to miss it. This is Sports Pack on Wolf Sports Network.
Hey guys, this is Bobby Butler, and you're listening to Sports Pack only on the Wolf Sports.
Hello, hello. Quick reminder to those of you that are watching on either YouTube or Twitch. Here at Wolf Sports Network, we are indeed a radio station first, and this little awkward pause you're hearing isn't an awkward pause at all, but it's a song break. Hold on real quick, Jason. We're taking a quick song break right now, so stay tuned, listen to the great music that we're playing. Go to wolfsportsnetwork.com, and when we come back live, either stick around over there or hop on back over to the YouTube or Twitch stream to hear what else we got tuned for you. We're making our Monday Night Football picks, but we did overlook one major thing that happened yesterday because we got blinded by the Anthony Richardson conversation. The Jaden Daniels Hail Mary. We're going to start off this Monday Night Football segment, not by making our Monday Night Football picks, because I'm really not even excited to talk about this game, but we're going to start off by talking about the Commanders and Bears game. So stay tuned. We will be back in about a minute, 30 seconds. I just looked to the live chat, and I'm coming back. I lied. How legit are the Kansas City Chiefs? Mr. Gavin Ellis asks. I don't know. And because I don't know, it scares me half to death. Because their defense, like you said, has been bailing them out every game this year, but they're still undefeated. Yeah, a little bit of refs, but a lot of their defense. Patrick Mahomes has had an interception, at least one interception, in every single game they've played so far this season. I'm not really sure what to think about the Chiefs right now, but I do know one thing you can count on. By the end of the season, when the playoffs are starting to roll around, this Chiefs offense is magically going to find their stride. Mahomes is going to start playing at an MVP level again, and if that defense is still playing at as high as a level as it's been playing when that happens, man, we might see them be in the Super Bowl again. But there are a lot of great teams out here. You have the Ravens in the AFC. You have a lot of other good teams. You have the Detroit Lions, who look the best team in football right now. So I'm not really sure how to feel about the Chiefs team, but I'm still scared of them because they have a great defense and Patrick Mahomes. We'll be back in a second.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the start of a new semester, which only means one thing. Triple Threat is back.
But wait, there's more.
That's right, folks. Not only is Triple Threat back, but we are live. So every Friday from 11 to 12, grab a drink and some popcorn and get ready to enjoy the show. Only on Wolf Sports Network.
Yeah, buddy.
Fantastic news. The Wolves Deli Station is returning to West Commons. Build your own sandwich to your liking as you choose from our several bread, meat, and cheese options. Woo. More information is located at dine_west on Instagram. Now, I know me personally, when I go into Z6, West Commons, whatever you want to call it, and I make me a sandwich, I always go in there. I say I want the 6-inch hoagie roll, no Diddy, right?
Oh my goodness.
He
went two shows.
I get some, listen, man, I get some, no baby oil, but I get some turkey. I get some turkey on there.
That's so wild.
Throw some white American cheese on there. Yeah, I like white American cheese on there. Then boom, couple pieces of bacon, some salt and pepper. Get that thing toasted. But when I toast it, I don't want them to take the sandwich out when it beeps. I want them to let it overcook a little bit. I really want the crunch on my bacon extra.
This guy knows how to eat. I like this guy.
I'm telling you, when you go and get your sandwich from the deli station, tell them Richard Reed sent you and get the Richard Reed special. It's also called a turkey club. But yeah, anyway, I said it a second ago, we completely forgot to talk about the Jaden Daniels interception. We got carried away with the Anthony Richardson, the Jaden Daniels Hail Mary,
Richard.
Excuse me. I got carried away talking about the Anthony Richardson controversy, but monster play. Number 1 overall pick, Caleb Williams for the Chicago Bears, taking on the number 2 overall pick, Jaden Daniels for the Washington Commanders. A lot of people are calling him the Washington Commander. And on that last drive, he marched down the field, threw a Hail Mary that tipped off Tyreek Stevenson's hand.
What a guy.
He was talking to the crowd at the beginning of the play, but he got back into play. Ball tipped off his hand and landed in the hands of Noah Brown, the wide receiver, who ended up being the hero of that game. It was incredible. Well, JT, first of all, welcome to the show. I'm sorry. I'm sitting here talking about sub sandwiches and stuff.
That's not Steven.
How did you feel?
I don't think I look like Steven.
How did you feel when you saw that Hail Mary?
Dude, so I didn't watch the game real time, but I looked at the highlights after. I didn't see the score or nothing. That's like, he should be cut kind of stuff.
Tyreek
like,
Stevenson?
Taunting the fans before the last play of the game, that's a sign from God that you deserve to lose that game.
Not even before. It was during.
It was during the play too. Yeah,
the
like
receivers
before
were
the play,
running
during
towards
the
the end
play.
zone, and he was talking to the fans.
Even like the Washington Commanders fans were trying to be like, "Hey, the play's going on. Get over there."
I saw that. Like I saw him. He was like taunting to him, and then he turns out he's like, "Oh shoot, wait a minute. Wait, the play's actually happening. I got to go do my job now."
And the fact that he was the one that ran over and he was the one that tipped the ball up to Noah Brown just.
Have they not ever taught you to swat the ball down? I mean, seriously, what is the whole thing with that? Swat the dang ball! Swat it!
Yeah, I think what perfectly just represents this Hail Mary is the video of that old dude, like, I don't know how old he is, but they win, and he's just staring the guy with the camera down. Just, like, walking around the room, but maintains eye contact. He's like, we got one. We got one. It's just...
Commanders fans have been waiting on this for a long time.
Since 2012.
Man.
This is probably, like, this is
like
what
that.
RG3 was, but we
Exactly.
actually get to remember it, because I don't really remember
Dude,
any
I
of that.
pray Jaden Daniels stays healthy because
that would be
his
so
career
awesome.
is going to be special. And this season is going to be a special season as they're probably going to win the NFC East this season. You still got I'm not even going to say the Cowboys. You still got the Eagles out there floating around. They just beat the Cincinnati Bengals by 20 points last night, 37-17. But when you're looking at this Commanders team, they're without a doubt currently the best team in that conference. In that division, excuse me, and I cannot wait to see how the rest of the season shakes out. But now, let's talk about this Monday Night Football game. As we have the New York Giants going on the road to the Steel City to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are coming off a big-time win against the New York Jets after they made a quarterback switch to one Russell Wilson. JT, I'm going to let you start us off here. You're from New York, but you're a Bills fan, so I don't know how you feel about the Giants, but how do you feel about this game tonight? Who's going to win it?
So I just want to say, if any of you pick the Steelers not to win this game, you're just trying to be different. The Giants are 2-5, the clear bottom of this division, and possibly the entire NFC besides the Panthers. They have so many problems all across the table, especially the one under center in Daniel Jones.
Yep.
Looking at the other side, the Steelers took a gamble with Russell Wilson last week, and they clicked. They let Russ cook, and he did. He brought that entire offense together. The defense has always been great, always been cooking. And, I mean, the Steelers just should have this game pretty easily, and they should remain the top of this division.
You're one smart cookie. I couldn't agree more. I struggle with this New York Giants team, man. Like two seasons ago, they were pretty darn good.
Yeah, they're playoff contenders.
And they just fell off pretty hard. Daniel Jones was playing somewhat competent football 2 years ago. Now, I don't think he knows who's on his team all the time. But I look at this game, and I think that gamble with Russell Wilson ended up being a really good one because that man, he's going to be throwing the moon ball tonight, right? That man throws that deep ball beautifully, and I'm excited to watch that, especially that connection with George Pickens, and just Giants ain't got a chance.
Yeah.
They ain't got a chance.
No, I mean, I'm going to roll with the Steelers tonight, and like we're all saying here, it was a very good decision for them to move Russ into starting quarterback. Also, I was talking to one of my classmates today in my class this morning. He said right now Justin Fields kind of has a hamstring injury, so at least helps him heal there and really just helps the team. But, yeah, Danny Dimes has turned into Danny Nichols, so, they're not playing good. And like you're saying, very surprising 2 years ago they were a playoff team, and now they're 2-5. Plus, you're going up against a really solid defense with the Steelers. So, yeah, give me Steelers tonight.
Great timing for Justin Fields' hamstring injury. He wasn't going to play anyway.
Yeah.
But I will say this. I want to say a couple things here. The Giants are 2-5. Both of those wins were on the road. Malik Neighbors is returning to this offense. When Malik Neighbors was on this team, their defense has already been competitive in every single game. They have a very, very, very underrated defense. Daniel Jones has been struggling this year, but when he's had Malik Neighbors, his number one target, to pair up with Wan'Dale Robinson, he hasn't looked just terrible. He's looked very, very solid. Malik Neighbors helps him out a lot. But I will also say this. I want to say two things here again. Shout out Nolan Johnson again for giving me a great stat right here. The Steelers have not lost a home Monday Night Football game since 1992.
Wait, what?
You heard me right. The Steelers have not lost a home Monday Night Football game since 1992. I wasn't even born. I was still a swimmer. My parents weren't even married yet. That is how long ago that was. So I want to say two things here. One, that streak is not going to end tonight. The Steelers are going to find a way to win this game.
We got Michael Phelps.
I was young Michael Phelps out there. I was a mere swimmer. But look, the Steelers going to win this game. This is going to be a pretty close game. Might be competitive throughout the first three quarters. I can see the Steelers pulling away in the fourth. I love the Steelers defense. I love Russell Wilson at quarterback, George Pickens. They need more help at receiver, but I don't think it's going to bite them in the butt too much today. They're going to get it done, maybe like a 24-20 kind of game. I think it'll be pretty close. And also, Nolan is your official invite. I want you to transfer to West Georgia and join Sports Pack.
Please.
Look, you helped us a lot through this show tonight, giving a lot of great things in the live chat. Nolan, I love you. And if you don't transfer here to join Sports Pack, call in for Thursday's show. And that's a reminder for all of you out there. No matter what your age, height, ethnicity is, we want you on Sports Pack.
We
want
love
you
everyone.
here.
We accept
Send us
everyone.
a DM on Instagram at Wolf Sports Network, or if you have our number somehow, some way, text us personally. We will bring you into the show. We want to hear from you. Tune in on Thursday to hear our great call-ins that we're going to have this week. I think it's going to be box office. Now, that's all we've got for the show tonight. As always, I'm your host, Richard Reed, signing off for John Howley, JT Groves, Jackson Schrader, Brandon Dyer, Stephen Lambert, and Carly Pear, who is recovering from her latest battle with Ebola she contracted while she was in Italy. This is Sports Pack on Wolf Sports Network. We'll see you Thursday. Toodles. You are now listening to